Happy New Year, everybody.
Ooh.
I am Adam McCoy.
And I am Marcus Faces Farrell.
And welcome to Slim Pickins, the show where we explore and teach y'all low budget and DIY filmmaking techniques. So this week's episode is actually, unfortunately, not as low budget as we would like it to be. This week we're actually talking about things that we recommend you invest in.
All right, the first thing you want to invest in is a good camera, as you see. And then after you get you a good camera, you want to make sure you get some good sound. Sound is very important. And for you to get that good steady shot, you want to make sure that you get a tripod, a good fluid head tripod. The next thing you want to look into is getting a good computer with a fast processor so you can properly edit. And talking about editing, you want to make sure that you get a good editing software. Those are things you definitely want to invest your money in and don't want to go cheap on, because if you go cheap on those type of things, you would definitely get cheap results. So you want to definitely invest properly in those type of things. Do your proper research because depends on what you're trying to film is what you want to aim for. Some people like having a DSLR because they might want to have the option for photography and for filming. Or you just might want to get you a whole camcorder if you're just going to do straight just filming and you're not worried about any form of photography at all. So just understand what audience you're aiming for and understand what type of footage that you're trying to capture when you do your investment.
So even though we're talking about investing in some equipment, it's not actually as expensive as you think it might be. So I have a DSLR, I have the Canon SL2. It shoots full HD 1080p, which is exactly what I want. And I have the kit lens, the standard lens. I don't have any interchangeable lenses, which doesn't bother me at all. And this only ran me about $650. So if you're thinking, oh, you have to invest in a $3,000 camera right off the bat, you don't. You can make good things with less expensive gear as long as you're able to be creative with what you do. Mm-hmm. The other thing is the microphone. Mm-hmm. You know, if you research your microphone, Rode, Sennheiser, there's a couple of really well-known brands.
You don't have to go all out breaking the bank trying to get some good equipment. Work your way up. Mm-hmm. Don't sit here and try to judge your work off of other people's work because they might have a bigger budget than you. Work with what you have and execute. Execution is the main thing.
It really is. Absolutely. The reason that we suggest investing in a good fluid head tripod is because being a professional working off of a $35 Target tripod is terrible. When you have a fluid head tripod, they cost $100, $200. They're not that horribly expensive.
Really not.
You might see that and go, oh my God, $150 for a tripod? That's a lot. It's not a lot. When you invest in a good fluid head tripod and you do get those pans, you do get those tilts, you have the smoothness and you have something that's designed to twist. If you get one of those cheap $30, $40, $50 tripods from Best Buy or Target or Walmart, you're gonna get a lot of cricks and clacks and yeah, exactly right. It's gonna be terrible, and you're gonna hear that on your footage, and you're gonna see that on your footage, and it's not gonna be able to be fixed in post. You can't. I've tried.
No,
I've tried.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Invest in a good fluid head tripod. Mm-hmm. Invest in a good quality microphone from a reputable brand. Yeah. Invest in a camera. This is entry-level camera, but it was only $650, $700, but it gets the job done. The microphone was only about $85, $90, which seems kind of expensive for something this small, but it is so worth it because the quality of sound that I get is better than the quality of sound that I know a lot of people get. Especially people that are starting out. And then lastly, we're talking about the computer editing software. There are a few free, express, pretty restricted editing softwares that if you're doing super basic editing, you can get away with no problem. But if you have a Mac, if you invest in Final Cut, or Adobe, if you have a PC, if you invest in Adobe, you can do so much more right off the bat. And it can most of the free editing softwares can't process in their system 4K footage and other stuff as well as these other softwares. I used one. I'm not gonna say what it is. I don't want to slander anything, but I used one, and I couldn't process 4K footage on the same computer I'm using now. And now that I'm using Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects, I can edit in After Effects 4K footage and do effects that I couldn't even dream of doing in this other software, because it just read. I don't know what happened. Was different, but Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects are a much better investment than this free editing software.
Agreed.
And it gets the job done.
Agreed.
Lastly, the computer. If you're willing to give up some bells and whistles for processing power and memory, you can get a surprisingly good computer for cheap. I think my computer, it's a Lenovo IdeaPad 330, $500 at Best Buy, I think. I gave up touchscreen. I gave up the folding to a tablet. I gave that up, and giving up those two bells and whistles that aren't necessary, I saved about $400 for the same processing power. And now I have a computer that can process 4K footage and run Adobe After Effects just fine. Very pleased with it. So even though we're talking about investing in gear, it's not as expensive as you think it is. My starting out initial investment may be $1,500 altogether. Camera, tripod, sound, computer, editing software, the whole 9 yards, the whole kit and caboodle. Only about $1,500. And I know people who spent $25,000 or $15,000 for gear, and I'm making more things than they are. And so
it's not about the equipment, it's about the person behind it,
right.
The person using it.
So if you invest wisely, invest smart, and are willing and actually use it, you will for sure get yours money's worth, and you'll be surprised at what you can do with even entry-level equipment.
Go out there and do it. Never ever get discouraged, and if you get discouraged, just think how to get it done.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Slim Pickins, the show where we explore and teach y'all low-budget filmmaking techniques. Please, if you liked the video, leave a like below. Smash that like button if you like it. Hashtag 2019 trends. Comment below the gear and software that you initially invested in. I would love to hear what stuff you initially invested in and how you like it and if it's worth the investment. And then please subscribe if you like it. We release one of these every week, or at least we try our best to release one of these every week. And so if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. And until the next video, we'll see y'all later.
Peace.
Thank you all for watching this week's episode of Slim Pickins. It's simplicity. Yeah.
More blue.
Right, little blue boy. Little blue boy. Oh, he's not gonna live that down. That's his new name. That's his new name. Yeah. What's up,
little blue boy?
It's a bad street name to have, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. Where it's like blue balls.
Right. Yeah. Little Mr. Blue Balls. All right. God, this is terrible. We're in a public place right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing.